And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome in to your LSU Football Fix presented by Celebrity Theaters. Tonight, join with me, not as always, is Zach Nagy, who decided to take a night on NOLA instead of LSU football fixing it out. So I've got, look, no one man can replace what Zach Nagy brings to this show. We all know that. That's just a known universal fact. So I did it with two men tonight. I've got one, Chris Marler, who made sure to bring his Locked On Gamecocks logo here into the show tonight. Maybe
you
that's because
did I do that?
You did that. You did that.
No, I did not mean to do that.
I don't even know how to spell your name. You think I wrote your name in there?
Can I change this in the middle of the show? I don't want to say that.
You would have to back out, and that's strictly forbidden.
Fair,
strictly forbidden. You cannot back out. I am not good looking enough to be full screen. That's why we bring you in here. Okay.
Fair.
What it is in StreamYard, if you like do another StreamYard for another show, it like auto populates with whatever you had last time you were in there. So yeah, no, it just does that. But no, it's fine. It shows you have some interesting perspective. One of your 7 teams, I think, is what your fiance called it.
Here we go.
Gamecocks, Bama, LSU. LSU pays your mortgage. Or at least covering LSU does.
I love LSU. I love Baton Rouge. I love being here. I mean, this is like, you can't see it. There's I got my work hat over here. I got a bunch of other dude. Like we love it here, and so I will say no disparaging things about LSU while I'm on here.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. It's good to hear because we'll say a lot of disparaging things about South Carolina because LSU doubled their score this weekend, although there was some sloppiness, some things not to like. I kind of want to spend the first half of this show with you kind of recapping. You probably know the South Carolina roster better than most LSU fans do, certainly better than me. And, I kind of want your perspective on whether or not what LSU did was impressive. I look at the numbers, but I don't watch quite as many snaps or study the roster like you do. So what I think might be the most interesting thing to have you on is James Franklin fired at Penn State. And who did you say was a lock for that job?
Dude, it makes too much sense for him not to go to Florida. Because here's the thing. Part of his contract says he has to be looking for a job. I don't think he necessarily wants to get out of coaching. I don't know. But when you look at, this is going to be a crazy cycle. I doubt he goes to UCLA. It feels very, very...
Well, do you think those jobs are going to want him after getting fired from a program like Penn State?
Do I think Florida is going to want James Franklin? I think Florida would be at his doorstep right now. Because here's dude, Florida, unless Florida is as dumb as we all think they are,
we all do think they're dumb. Just so we're clear,
Scott Strickland has been, I think that's who it is been an awful AD.
Yes.
He is so lucky that they won a national championship in men's basketball because that saved his entire job. He has been one of the worst ADs in the country. His hires have all been very, very bad. But if you're Florida, you got the benefit of being able to listen, we can go hire Muschamp. We can go hire Jim McElwain. We can go hire guys like that because right now in the 2010s, Georgia's at a 40-year low. Tennessee is at an all-time low and in chaos with all their coaching stuff. And we're kind of like Vanderbilt, South Carolina. Well, South Carolina was good, but they still struggle with Florida. But Vanderbilt and Kentucky, you're not going to struggle with them, and you still have divisions.
Yeah.
You're going to Atlanta as long as you can just beat either Tennessee or Georgia. And that happened over and over and over again. And then it was okay, then you get Dan Mullen, and he wasn't good enough for you despite going to 3 straight New Year's Six Bowls and 21 wins in his first 2 seasons. So then you go hire Billy Napier. You're not in a place right now where you can go hire a first-time head coach, a guy from a G5 school that's unproven, or put yourself in a situation where it's you're already so far behind because now those Georgia and Tennessee programs are at their peak of where they've been in the last 40 years. And you are now fighting in an even deeper SEC. Everyone loves to hate on Franklin, including myself, in terms of his rank or his record against top 25 and top 10 opponents. I made the joke earlier this year. It was barely a joke. Penn State football is just Jurassic Park. It is every year we pretend that something different's going to happen. But what ends up happening is you brought dinosaurs back to life, and a bunch of people struggled to stay alive on some remote island. But here we are again. I'm signing up to go see it in IMAX. James Franklin and Penn State, we're going to win 10 games every year. Like every year.
My most concerning statement about what you're saying is people expecting a good plot out of Jurassic Park. You know, I mean, it's Jurassic Park. You go to the theaters, you expect good graphics and people to get eaten by dinosaurs. What were you wanting, guys? What were you expecting out of this? I mean, what were you expecting out of James Franklin?
This time they flew. State, this time they were on ice. It was so weird watching those people. They were like, "This is not as good as the other ones." And it's like they're all the same. It's Fast and Furious with dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park is one good movie, and like 7 just directionless, plotless, just clusters of movies with great graphics and dinosaurs eating people. That's it. That's it. One good movie that was made in 1991. Chris, I wasn't even alive when the movie came out. I was born a couple months later. Yeah, I know you're old. I get it. You're 38. I know you're the old guy.
Was a good one. That one with the Fallen Kingdom was no. I think it's what it was with Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. That the first one was Jurassic World. That was 2015, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine, but it's not like it was a riveting story either. Anyways, all that to say, James Franklin, they apparently hate on him enough to pay him $48 million to not coach football, which, by the way, is the best job in America.
Yeah.
LSU owes Brian Kelly at the end of this year $54 million. And for that reason, I say no matter what happens this season, Brian Kelly will stick around for next year.
I'd agree.
Do you know what Billy Napier's buyout is? Have you looked at that?
It's pretty low, isn't it?
$19 million.
Yeah.
So his ass is grass, as they say. We get one per show, and I'm choosing it right there. He gone. All right. Cause you're just not winning it. And trust me, so one of the cool things I do a lot of the away team media, like coach in the post games. I'm the only LSU guy in there all the time. And I get a really good perspective of how the media refer to a coach and talk to him in their post game. Cause we're shooting around. There's like 7 of us in a room and these guys are letting it rip on Billy Napier. I mean, I think he is done. But yeah, no, I don't know if they'd go here. Let me tell you this. Can you name the last 2 coaches to win a national championship after getting fired from a Power 5 school or BCS? You get what I'm saying, right? You can. The answer is yes, you can. The answer is yes. I just don't know if you believe in yourself. There you go. There you go. And this statistic was the reason I was so opposed to Orgeron as the coach, but he proved me wrong. So there's that. And you can name the other one too.
I don't know if I can.
That's as good of a hint as you're ever going to get.
Harbaugh.
Gene Stallings.
That's that long ago?
Oh, yeah.
Who did he get fired by? Who would fire Gene?
Texas A&M.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. You had to go back, and that I believe it was 91. They won the national title.
92, 13
92. Okay. Anyways, that's not a lot of coaches doing that. A lot of coaches who haven't been fired from Power 5 schools. And my main argument there is that if you've been at a school with all the resources to win a national championship, and you weren't able to get it done before they decided to pay you not to coach, you might have some problems as a coach. Statistically speaking, I think you're likely to fall in that category.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I do believe there's going to be some notable exceptions. Lane Kiffin is one I would say is in that category, but Lane Kiffin was at USC during probations.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
The thing I think is really weird about this, too, is the idea. I saw somebody post this today, and I think it's how they view James Franklin. It's like, well, like somebody commented on the article I wrote, and they were like, well, he couldn't win at Penn State. Why would he win at Florida? And it's like, dude, he had 6 10-win seasons in the last 9 years, right? Like he was winning games. They finished in the top 10, and I think 5 of the last 9 years.
I believe he had the 3rd most wins in the last 5 years, by the way.
Right. He had one losing season, and it was in COVID. So it doesn't, it counts for some teams, but not that one. That's all I'll say about that. But then I think, but the main thing is the idea that he can't win games because he didn't win the national championship. I think some fans really need to get a grip on this idea that that is the only benchmark that matters. And people talk about Brian Kelly like this a lot too, which it kind of drives me crazy because it's like, I personally think before he got to LSU, his entire resume was disregarded and it was viewed through the lens of he got boat raced by Bama in 2012, boat raced by Clemson in 2018, and beat by Bama again in 2020. It's like two of those three teams are two of the better teams in the last 25 years, maybe of all time. And then the one in 2012, like, what did you think was going to happen? And so I think that the idea of losing those three games and like being somehow a bigger evaluator of who he is in over the 300 wins that he has, it's just so stupid and silly that the fans have that mindset.
Yeah. I think there is a bit, and look, the standard cliche 9-3 coach. I think throwing James Franklin in that 9-3 coach genre is kind of fair, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously he's more volatile than like your Les Miles of the world,
right?
Who are consistently winning, just not at the level that a program like that is going to expect. Like there's just certain programs where 9-3 ain't going to fly. LSU, right. Alabama, you know what I mean? And Penn State is certainly one of those, but I think the volatility and the lack of showing up in big opportunities, I think I just got sick of it. Now, I'll say this. Here's my big overarching take here. I think something's got to be done about these buyouts, man. Like, you want to read some buyouts real quick right now? The largest active buyouts. And Kirby Smart, 105. $105 million. Now, fortunately, Kirby Smart is not on the hot seat, but I don't know that he has much motivation to win football games with that buyout. Ryan Day, 70.9. Kalen DeBoer, 60.8. Steve Sarkisian, 60.3. Dabo Sweeney, 60. Mike Norvell, 58.7. Dan Lanning, 56.7. Kirk Signetti, 57.7. And at ninth is Brian Kelly at $53.3 million. So some big buyouts, and my overarching take is that college football, they've got to do something about that. Now, I personally, it's probably something where politicians are going to have to get involved, where they're like, look, these are at the end of the day, they're athletic institutions, but they're attached to a government body, a government school many times. We can't be giving away $100 million to a man to just not coach. So I think there's got to be something, and it probably has to be done at a level like no state politician's going to be like, I'm going to hurt my state school by preventing my school from being able to hire a good coach.
I'll also tell you, if I have to hear some geriatric a-hole who's made a career and lifetime in politics and just become a lifetime politician where he gets paid, you're supposed to get paid what, $180,000 or $200,000 total as like as a state senator, and some of the benefits those guys are getting. Not to get political, but if I hear some lifetime politician who gets to re-up every single year tell me that we can't fire coaches that suck, I'll probably lose my mind over that.
And there you go. But anyways, we're gonna shift away from politics. We don't do politics here. I actually put a lot of work into it, but sometimes there's a little crossover. We are going to talk about LSU. We're going to recap the LSU South Carolina game first. Before we dive too deep in that, I gotta thank the people who make what I do possible. Guys, y'all know the title sponsor of this show. It's Celebrity Theaters. They're Baton Rouge's only locally owned and operated theater with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Guys, for years, they've been committed to providing a total family entertainment to all its patrons. Because it's locally owned and operated, you're going to see some things guaranteed, like a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology. The Baton Rouge location has the largest arcade in town, featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. They've got a bar featuring wine, beer, frozen drinks, oversized leather reclining seats, and the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system in their large screen theaters. Guys, they do weekly specials, okay? They've got Senior Savings Day, Bargain Tuesday, half-priced arcades, and College Night on Wednesday and Thirsty Thursdays. And also, guys, they do private events. So whatever you're looking for, corporate party, birthday party, taking the class out, whatever it may be, guys, they're here to take care of you with great service and great pricing. CelebrityTheaters.com/events, or send them an email to the email on your screen, events@celebritytheaters.com, and they will take care of it for you. It is my favorite theater. I liked them before they paid me to say I like them. I'm not kidding about that. I've been going to that theater for like 25 years, back when it was Oak Cinema 8, maybe some OGs.
Ooh,
Not
okay.
Chris. Chris doesn't even know what it is today because he got here like 3 months ago. But
Yeah,
others in the chat will remember Oak Cinema 8. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let's talk a little LSU South Carolina. So overall, your thoughts. Obviously, South Carolina has struggled on offense, but
yeah.
were you surprised at just how anemic they were outside of one big run?
Oh, buddy, this is one of the best performances they've had all season. I don't even know
Offensively.
Oh my God, yeah. Like they are inept at running the football. They were at least able to do that. Throwing the football, no, of course not. There's just it's like I jokingly said to Hunt Palmer, who was sitting next to me in the press box, I was like, they crossed the 50 and they got down to like the 41. I was like, about time for a false start, huh? They got 2 in a row. And the ability for them to get in their own way and shoot themselves in the foot. The Fuller touchdown makes you feel better about what the stats say at the end. I think I look at this game through the lens for LSU, because I know LSU fans are really pissed about just like the way it worked out. The final score was. I thought this was a really good game for LSU in terms of like what we had seen. It's the highest output you've had for passing yards and total yards offensively against any Power 4 opponent you've had this year. Yeah. Listen, the bar is low, but the bar's been low all season, so you took a step forward. And if there's a strength for South Carolina, I know you asked about the offense, but I'm just going to probably talk about what I want to talk about. Don't take it personally. But the defense is their strength, right? And I've said this on air a couple of times last week, and people thought I was crazy. One of the things that South Carolina's been really good at, like they lead the SEC in forced turnovers since Clayton White's been the defensive coordinator. But they also lead in forced turnovers in their own red zone. Like when they get down and inside, like teams get down inside their 20, they become very, very good at turning you over. And you saw it happen twice with LSU. And that's not like an anomaly. That happens a lot with this defense. But holding Dylan Stewart to 0 sacks, like getting the run game going, you're able to kind of lean on later in the game, and Caden Durham getting going at times there. Yeah, you want the explosives to happen for the receivers, but like finding a go-to guy that wasn't just Aaron Anderson, I thought was great, and being Trey-Dez. Thought some of the play design was really good. I look at that game and I'm like, if I'm a South Carolina fan, I feel okay that you're leaving with a 10-point loss. But I look at it from like somebody that's been here and covering some of the stuff with LSU and pulling double duty. We all sat here and the fans and people in the media were pissed at the Florida game because it's like, well, they had 5 turnovers and you only won by 10. If we're going to have that kind of conversation, which is fair, you also have to have the other side of it, which is like you had 3 turnovers, 2 of them on the 1 yard line, and then all the other things that had to happen where you only won by 10. That game was never close. Like that game should have been a blowout.
LSU was firmly in control. I agree.
South Carolina had 7 trips across the 50-yard line. And it gave them 3 points. And how many times do we see them get to the 40 and then a couple plays later feel like they were back at their own 40? And so I thought there were a lot of positives to take away from this. If I'm South Carolina, I'm sure there's something you could talk me into that would make me feel better about it. But I think the big takeaway I had from the LSU standpoint was that's a big step forward from what you had seen in the past couple of weeks.
I think that mostly you encompassed all of my thoughts with the game, right? LSU was firmly in control. They outgained them by 100 yards. They had 3 turnovers on long drives. We're talking drives of 6 or more plays and 30 or more yards, with the average being about 9 plays, 60 yards, and then there's a turnover. Most 9 play 60-yard drives, you're getting a touchdown on, right? Or at least a field goal on, right? And LSU just got 0 points on those, and that's very frustrating. And here's the way, ultimately, I now analyze what happened with the offense is coming out of Ole Miss. How many plays would LSU have had to have fixed to get their offense performing the way it needs? A lot.
Right.
For the amount of plays that LSU would have needed to fix to come away with a blowout like they should have in this game, I flipped 5 or 6 plays. I mean, those 3 turnovers alone. I mean, and that does the trick. I mean, you cannot fumble on the 1 yard line. Nussmeier cannot throw that pick at the 1 yard line.
Right.
And frankly, the pick around midfield that he threw you, I mean, that one was, I don't know. I say it was out of character. What's that?
I think BK in the presser, they said it sailed on him.
Yeah, it sailed on him. He overthrew it. There was an open Kyle Parker, and Nussmeier just ripped it. I would love to say it's out of character, but it's perfectly on brand for Nussmeier.
Yeah.
He's due for one of those like every other game, like where there's an open guy and he nukes it to the other team, you know. And frankly, he probably does it a little more. He just gets away with it a little more than we would like to admit. So yeah, I guess question is here. Yes, I think most people are acknowledging there's offensive progress. Is South Carolina's defense, did they play well enough to respect what LSU's offense was able to take those step forwards? And are they a good enough defense that bodes well for LSU's future?
I go back to like stop looking at the total yards and stop looking at the points scored, because I think, listen, we all check box scores and we look at stuff and we want, more than anything, we want a shiny toy to play with and say, this makes me feel better about what we had. Like we all want a service box score for our emotional stability to say, hey, look, we scored 40 points, man. We put up over like 450 yards of offense. That's great. Here's the key stat that no one really seemed to talk about, and I didn't understand why. The strength of this entire team, besides Lenore Sellers, is the defensive ends. And not just Dylan Stewart, but JT Gear, Brian Thomas Jr. Like you have like several guys that are like they get after it, and they had a ton of sacks last year. They were getting the backfield constantly. A banged up offensive line, and an offensive line that frankly has struggled a lot, held them to 0 sacks. And then you had, like I said, you had a.
Although I will say, Dylan Stewart owned real estate in LSU's backfield, but I think they kind of knew.
Newborn baby for several plays too.
Yeah, I mean, Weston Davis just went on a merry-go-round that game, but Nussmeier, best footwork, best scrambling of his career at LSU, in my opinion. Although it seems like he's got a limp after every time he's
he's healthy. He's still healthy enough to do it, which is good. I was a little bit concerned on a couple of those plays, but here's the other one too, man. Lenore Sellers hadn't been a part of this offense to run the football, and I know it's the opposite side of the ball, but that he had 23 carries in the first 3 games combined for 45 total yards. 15 of that came on the first touchdown of the year. So you're talking about this game, they finally make a concerted effort where he is going to have more carries, and you saw it in the second play from scrimmage, or at least it was the second play of the second drive maybe, where they try to have design runs for him. He had 22 runs in this game. Not all design runs, obviously, because he was scrambling, but he had 19 total yards. Anytime you're able to hold that kind of athlete that we have seen break plays nonstop, 22 carries for 19 yards. Did you see the stat that Cole Kubelik put out today?
No, what did he put out?
One of the most disgusting things I have ever heard in my entire life. It says, and I quote, Lenore Sellers finished the LSU game with 19 yards rushing on 22 attempts. His total distance traveled during the game was 894 yards. He ran.
Where does he get that metric from?
No, it says,
is that like a PFF metric or something?
It's at Teamworks, whatever that is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I believe it. I believe it. That LSU defense was getting after him, and when he did run well, by the way, it was open lanes from blitzing. That's just part of the business when you overload blitz. So here's where I will go bigger picture, because I know you got to hop off. Hey guys, if y'all want to get any questions for Chris, pop them up. I'm gonna try to sneak in a couple. He's got to head out in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Do you think LSU's offense improved enough from Ole Miss into this game where if they play the way they did and clean up a couple turnovers, is this offense good enough to compete for something big this year? SEC championship, playoffs, given how good the defense is.
I feel like I'm a homer for saying it, but like I do. I don't feel. I know it's not the general consensus of. I feel the frustration from LSU fans, and I get it. And there's a track record enough from this season to where the frustration is valid. But I just have a very hard time believing that for 12 consecutive weeks we are going to go watch. And I'm like Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Trey'Dez Green, Caden Durham, Bauer Sharp, Nick Anderson, Berrien Brown, Kyle Parker had a big touchdown this weekend. Like who else am I missing? Like that you're gonna somehow hold all those guys in check for that long. I just can't imagine a world where that ends up being the case and they don't figure this thing out to an extent that's good enough to win. The defense is good enough to win you a championship. I keep saying this. I've been saying it since like week 2 or 3. The offense is a big enough liability to cost you one. But I do think they can keep improving, and I think that like Nussmeier getting healthy, there's a lot more zip on those throws this weekend. Is a big part of it. The biggest thing here, man, and like Vandy is that line scares the bleep out of me, man, because it's
too. Oh my God, I'm going to get to that later.
Begging you to take LSU, but
that means they know something that I don't.
But Vandy is very good at protecting the football. They weren't against Bama, but like that, what happened against South Carolina, that's the most important part. You will not beat Vanderbilt if you lose the turnover battle 3-1. Like you're not going to beat Bama that way. You're probably not going to beat Oklahoma. We might not beat Oklahoma that way. I don't know, but like that's the most important part. Is you can't have A&M like 2024 Texas A&M version of Nuss like lead you down the rest of this way. And I think that or 2025 South Carolina, you really got to protect the football in the upcoming weeks.
Brad David says, "Hey Chris, I enjoy your articles.
Oh, thanks, Brad.
Also, what do you think of the officiating at the Auburn game?"
Well, I got an Auburn fiance in the other room, so I'll try to keep it down. I mean, I was in the press box for LSU South Carolina. I admittedly wasn't able to figure out what was going on. I think I threw out a tweet at one point because I was like, I saw there was less than 2 minutes left. I watched 9 more minutes of the LSU first half, went to the bathroom, got another hot dog, came back and sat back down. Maybe even got another hot dog. I don't know. And then there were still like 30 seconds in the first half left. I'm like, what the hell is going on down here? Like, I think the issue for me with Auburn is I don't know if it was a touchdown or not. I don't know if thank you, Brennan. I don't know if it was a fumble or not. I don't know if Kirby was trying to call timeout or not. I feel like I know the answer, but I don't know the answer to those things. I do know this. You have to figure out a way to bounce back and fight through that kind of stuff. You're already at home. You have this incredible environment, and you should have been probably up 17-0. But, dude, you couldn't punch it in on second and goal from the one before that.
Right.
So that's a big problem. You couldn't figure out a way to get in on third and one. And my bigger issue than anything, Preston, is that, like, I don't have an issue with them calling it a fumble. I could not decipher what it was 100%. I thought it was a touchdown, but I don't know 100%. My problem is if you call it a fumble, then it has to be a touchdown. My other problem is
that was a touchdown for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But if you call it a fumble, then it has to be a touchdown for Georgia because they also ran the ball back in. Same part. If you call if Kirby, if you don't give him or make him force the timeout that he called, it has to be delay of game. Like they're not able to explain any of the decisions they're making, and they're the only people on the field that don't have to be held accountable for how they impact the game, and they impact the game sometimes bigger than almost anyone every week, and that's very frustrating for me.
Last question here. Count the money. Does Bama drop any games on the schedule at this point?
Probably never gonna lose again, brother. No.
See, you're partial, but you're the most partial for these guys.
Yeah, no, I honestly think that they definitely drop a game. The schedule's too tough. I'm still not of the belief they're gonna make the playoff necessarily. They're good enough to, but the issue is I didn't know this, Preston. You might. I think you'll be surprised when I hear it. I thought Reese Davis was wrong when he said it. Bama just beat 3 straight top 25 SEC opponents in 3 consecutive weeks. They're only the 5th team in SEC history to do that. Like I would assume that happened a lot. Like,
so here's my suggestion for Bama. And they will win a national championship if they do this. Get top 25 games, get Kalen DeBoer to coach. Yeah. And just get Saban to fill in for the unranked games. And you'll win national championship every year because he can't win the unranked games.
Dude, what's the scariest thing? People think that the South Carolina game is an automatic win, and they got it. Like I just told you, they had 3 straight top 25 wins in 3 consecutive weeks. They're only the 5th team in conference history to do that. 5th, that's 93 years. And then I'm not even getting into that, Pierce.
Burn it down. Burn it down, baby.
But I mean, that whole thing is like they get through that gauntlet. And then they get rewarded with their 4th game being against Tennessee, which is number 11 in the country at home. And then you got to go to South Carolina, which they should be able to beat South Carolina. But like is that all of a sudden just like a guaranteed win considering his track record coming off big wins? No.
Lenore Sellers has Superman potential. I believe it. If you're not careful enough, he could rip off a few touchdowns and whoop you, and the defense is still tough. Dylan Stewart's a stud. No, the fact that South Carolina's as bad as they are is a little surprising. It's a good coach. They've got star power. They have very athletic receivers. It's just discipline sometimes. And
sometimes?
A lot of times.
Dude, also this, Preston, and you got to hear me out on this because I know you don't care as an LSU fan, but as somebody watching that game, I've heard these fans bitch about Mike Shula all year, and it's like I get it, but like they were able to scheme stuff against Missouri where they were open, they just couldn't give him enough time to throw the football. But if it's 4th and 4 and you draw up a play call when your life is on the line to keep this game going, why in the world are you drawing up a 4th and 4 to throw on Mansour Delane, who's the best cornerback in America? Like,
very funny.
Very simple stuff.
I don't know. I guess because they thought it would catch him off guard because they didn't throw at him all day long. Last thing I'm going to tell you, Ty Simpson is better than Jalen Milroe. That's it. That's all I'll say. I'll just say it on air.
Ty Simpson.
I mean, my God, he does this thing where he throws the forward pass.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
he's
he has
not
the
just
same
like
amount of
running
touchdowns as Milroe or more, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Anyways, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. Tell your fiance I'm sorry if I held you late here.
No, we're about to watch.
Is it wife or fiance? I forgot. Wait. Fiance. Okay. All right. Not married yet. Okay. No, all right. Cool. All right. Appreciate you, man.
Of course. Soon.
Yeah. Tell Pepper I said hi. Later. All right. That was Chris Marley. Now I've got John Eats of WAFB TV backstage. I'm going to do an ad break and then pop him up there in just a second because, frankly, simply because it's a good transition in my opinion, but not as good as the transitions that you get when you get your electrical done by Dykes Electrical. Guys, there's a reason they're the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. Did you like the lights in Tiger Stadium this weekend? Do you like the lighting in this studio that you're watching right now? Guess what? Big and small, both done by Dykes Electrical. Whether you need a 10-story office building, guess what? They can wire that. 200 square foot warehouse, they can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. Changing out a breaker, whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office, they can wire that. Or if you're upgrading the lighting in your home office, they can also wire that, guys. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. And all TigerBait shows are proudly brought to you this football season by Struby's Seafood and Steaks. Located on 107 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge, Struby's prides itself on providing a 5-star dining experience for a reasonable price. Struby's is locally owned with ownership in the building, taking a daily level of pride in the food that you're just not going to see from any corporate establishment. Struby's features a full menu of specialty meats, including USDA prime Black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. And for those looking for outside of red meat, they've got items such as the dry-aged pork chop, black truffle, lobster, pasta, redfish, and plenty more. Book your reservation online at strubys.com. Make sure to let them know that TigerBait sent you in. LSU won't be hosting a home game, but they will be in 2 weeks when Texas A&M comes for what might be a game day week. And guys, best place to get geared up is our friends at Alumni Hall. They've got it all. The Nike gear, Champion, Johnny O, Honorable Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti's gifts. Ooh, they've got it all, guys. It's like Willy Wonka's Wonderland for an LSU fan. They've got the nice polos you've been looking for. Shop online at alumnihall.com or in-store at perkinsroad.com. Either way you shop, I've got a discount code for you. TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait. You're going to get 10% off your purchase, and let them know that their sponsorship is well invested here at TigerBait. Guys, when you order with them, you get free shipping on all orders, $99 or more. But keep in mind, they ship locally. They're not shipping out of some, warehouse in Dallas or New York or wherever it might be. So if you're in Louisiana, it should get to you much faster. That is Alumni Hall. And this is NBA Youngboy's biggest fan, John Eads. What's going on, man?
Oh, recuperating. It was a long weekend.
Yeah.
So Monday and Tuesday we used to, get some rest and re-energize for another week as we enter the second half of football season.
Well, I'm glad you would de-energize with us by giving us your ball knowledge tonight. And hopefully you can, rest when you're dead or retired.
Long way to go.
That being said, who else needs to not be resting is LSU's offense, because they've got a lot of work to do. What did you think about the work they've done, though, in between Ole Miss and South Carolina?
I thought it was better, 420 in total offense against an SEC defense, even if South Carolina's defense isn't all that great, that's nothing to scoff at. They ran for 166. I think you'd take that really any game, with the way that, the passing game is set up, the way that Nussmeier has shown he could throw the football in the past, and the skill position talent you have. If you're throwing for 166, that probably means that, they're stacking the box against you, and you'll have some one-on-one matchups. And I think what we saw in that one drive where it was a pass to Trey'Dez Green and then a one-on-one slant to Kyle Parker, that's kind of what you're hoping for, is to get those one-on-ones where your athletes can really shine, and they have so many of them. And that's what we would see so much during spring and fall is those man-to-man situations. The offense just wins because they have the better athlete.
Right.
And in that situation, it's typically oriented or geared towards the offense winning. So I thought it was better. There was a little more creativity, I thought. They still haven't really hit those deep shots. I think they tried to get Hilton going a few times and couldn't come up with them. There were some penalties as well, but also, some drops along the way. But it was nice to see some explosive runs, from Juwan Johnson. You'd like him to take that all the way to the crib and not get tackled short. But Nussmeier as well,
How about not fumble too, huh?
Yes, of course. Can't have that. Nussmeier situationally picking up first downs with his legs too. I don't know if that'll work against a lot of the defenses you'll see. SC has a pretty good D-line. They get after the quarterback pretty well. So for him to show off that ability was nice. Obviously, what you can't have, though, is the red zone turnovers. You can't have turnovers, period, but especially not in the red zone. If you take those 2 red zone turnovers away, they win this game by, 17 points at least. And it's really not even that much of a contest. So it was better. They showed some improvement. It's not necessarily, everything I wanted to see, but it was a step forward, I would say.
Yeah, no, I think it was a step forward. The question is, was that step forward enough to make it into the playoffs? And I think in yes and no, I think that from a production standpoint, it was. I think from an execution standpoint and cleaning up turnovers, no, you can't turn the ball over 3 times.
No. Yeah.
But if you clean that up, I think you're there. I do.
Yeah, there's still a little more they need to find. Certainly that verticality, it's there. They just got to execute it, You just got to catch the ball. Or if you're going to take a penalty, that's fine. But when there's a play to be made, you got to make a play. I like that they got the tight ends more involved. That was something I asked on Thursday leading into the game was, Bauer Sharp's third on the team in receiving. Trey'Dez has been injured, obviously. So I wonder if that really hindered this offense the past couple of weeks. You saw how big of a weapon he can be. And just giving him an opportunity to make a play, he will make a play. He showed that time and time again. But I still feel like Bauer Sharp can get more involved. I feel like they need to send him out on more routes.
But let me ask this. Would you get Bauer Sharp involved at the cost of taking targets away from Trey'Dez Green?
No, I think what you can do is you can run some more 2 tight end, especially if your deep threats aren't going to catch the ball. What's the point of throwing?
Well, and I was going to say the receivers have been disappointing enough to the point where, remember in preseason camp, we were all talking in our little media huddles like, are you really going to run a bunch of 12 personnel with these receivers? And I think at this point, sure. Yeah. It's not like Chris Hilton's. Look, yes, it seems like everything has gone wrong to get the ball to Chris Hilton this season, right? Offensive line isn't blocking. Nussmeier isn't getting him the ball well. Sometimes the receivers themselves aren't getting open, but he finally is open. Nussmeier finally gets it to him. The pass protection's finally there, and you just drop it, man. Now, he might have gotten a little interfered with, but you're an SEC receiver.
Still got to make a catch.
You make the catch, man.
That's what you bring to the table. If you're not catching passes, tough one. Like he was a 5-star, and he's done it before. Like the Oklahoma game, he had a catch in the corner of the end zone on a contested ball. That's your role. Like that is what you are on the field to do, is to be the vertical guy. And vertical passes are going to be the hardest to catch because the ball is traveling a longer distance, and you got to go up and high point it. It's not rocket science. So
is that how you beat Tulane earlier today?
It is not. We don't have any kind of vertical passing game. And I accept that. So you know what we do? We dink and dunk. We run the football. We play to our strengths. And that's what LSU's got to continue to do. Now, with that said, you can't completely abandon the deep game because they're there.
You got to keep them honest.
Absolutely. And you hit one or two of those. Trey'Dez Green had a couple of catches down the field in that regard. That opens things up, So you can't just abandon it. You got to keep trying. But, man, these guys got to make these plays, it's as simple as that.
I'm going to get some questions here, guys. If you got questions, I know we hadn't gotten to a ton. I've got new people on the show tonight. So a lot of times I'm just letting them talk and doing our thing a little bit more. So comments kind of take a back seat. But y'all, if you want to really get something out there for John or I, hit us up with a super chat. Doesn't have to be much. Just hit us with one and I'll get you in before we wrap our show up tonight. Todd Davi, how is Vandy a favorite with our defense? Were you surprised when you saw the line? It's Vandy minus 2.5 right now.
Not really. I think for weeks people have been like, oh, this can be a tough spot. 11 a.m. Nashville, bit of a sleeper. And Vanderbilt's been really solid. I think these two teams are so similar, but I think LSU does have a better defense between the two. Yeah. You look at the Alabama Vanderbilt game. The difference in that one was red zone turnovers, Diego Pavia, right? So It's two offenses that have the capability to be explosive. They've shown it, but there's not a lot of consistency there. So it's an interesting matchup. It's kind of like South Carolina, except LSU, I would say, far and away had a better defense. In this case, the offenses are kind of similar, though I think LSU has a higher ceiling. But the Tigers do have the better defense, too. And I think that's what could win them the game. I don't know how much home field is going to matter. I think there's more energy around Vanderbilt now than there was before. But still, I don't feel like it's, enough. People are sitting in tents.
Let's put it like this. This will be the most electric environment Nashville, Tennessee has ever put up for the Vanderbilt Commodores. And it's still going to be
it's a ranked game. So
it's still going to be like 50% LSU fans.
I think so.
That's just, they have a history of not having a history. That's just what Vanderbilt is. And frankly, they're in probably one of their most successful eras in the history. And I'm very happy for them. Mike asked me on the post-game show what I thought the line was going to be. And I was just spouting. I'm not a huge gambler. Do you ever bet on games or anything? I'm not a huge gambler.
I love it. I don't bet any actual money, but I do a lot of games where I try to beat the system.
Yeah. Right. I don't actually put money down. I have when they made it legal and it was just like, they're giving you $200 to bet with. I just thought it was fun. I actually won a couple bets and just cashed out. I said, all right. Yeah, I got a nice little, I went up 100 and I'm done. But, I thought it was going to be like LSU minus 6.5, something like that.
Dang, that big, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, 6.5. It's a solid chunk, but it's also not just this gratuitous blowout line. Like 7.5 is a lot bigger than 6.5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then lo and behold, we're looking up the lines were all over the place that night, and then you look up Sunday morning, and it's Vanderbilt minus 1.5. Now it's minus 2.5. They are begging you to take that LSU money line right now.
I know. It's
Caught me off guard. Lewaski Watkins. How do you feel about Weston Davis? I feel like there's setting us up for a trap here. How is he feeling about this question?
Well, because he had the fractured nose and the concussion, which, by the way, did you hear how that happened?
How? I
forget where I heard this, but apparently Jack Pyburn hit him in warmups and he didn't have his helmet strapped up or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about from 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's funny actually. Because I've hit somebody without a helmet on and hit their helmet. It hurts. You don't understand. It's coming for you. But a lot of times in the moment you're just going with it. I felt like he was on skates against Dylan Stewart and he needs to improve dramatically. I was watching a little bit of film, guys. I don't hide the fact that I played right tackle in high school. Now, granted, this isn't SEC reps or anything, but I do know how to play the position. And I think his kick slides are just really shallow. considering the type of the speed rushers he's playing against. Like, he needs to get some depth, man. I mean, in a big kind of way, and give him some ability to navigate these edge rushers. I just don't know what's going on. It's either not being coached from a fundamental standpoint, or maybe he's just got brick feet. Now, he's a basketball player, so that catches me off guard. He should have good, quick feet. And right tackle, when you kick slide with your right foot, most people are right-footed, just like you're right-handed, whatever.
Yep.
And of course, the ambidexterity varies. Most dudes have an easier time kick sliding to their right. I did. I couldn't play left tackle because I wasn't left-footed like that. But anyways, it's not a super difficult assignment, and he's just failing it, is what I'm getting at here. So,
I
0
think he
sacks.
excels more as a run blocker. Like, he just plays with an edge. And from all the film that I got of him at practice, I feel like he does a lot better when he's working downhill than when he's pass protecting. And some
Carver
linemen are like that, you know?
Carver Stir, which you've ever paid attention to the chat here, Carver Stir obviously played football or whatever, knows a good bit about the sport. He brings up a good point. It's Dylan Stewart, Phyllis. And also, I'll put this out there. 0 sacks against Dylan Stewart. Now, there was a couple watch outs going on. You know what the watch out is? You're looking at your quarterback because you just got olayed in a circle. Watch out! He's coming. And Nussmeier actually managed it pretty well. Should have been a sack. Most of the time with Nussmeier,
he was under duress the whole night, though. Like, he was not comfortable back there.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why he makes some of the mistakes he does sometimes, because he gets rid of it quicker than he wants to.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't feel confident going through his reads. So that definitely, and again, South Carolina has a good defensive line. They had a good defensive line last year. They have a good one this year. But still, this has kind of been every week, you know?
Yeah. I look,
even they had 2 sacks though.
I think you're a lot closer to being a good pass protecting team than a run blocking team. I'm not off basis for saying that, right? Just as
I thought they run blocked pretty well this past game.
They did. Now I will say this: 100 of your 166 came on 3 carries, right?
Yeah,
but
that happened.
But that's part of the nature is your biggest runs get the most yards for you. I just consistently body of work throughout the year. Yes, I think they've been better at pass protection. Yeah, they got to do something about his footwork. And a lot of people were saying, well, he kept on taking a shallower step back because he was relying on a chip from a running back. But guys, I'm getting really nerdy with my offensive line talk. If you're relying on a chip from a running back, you don't attack his inside shoulder. You still get center and let him punch the outside shoulder on his way out to his route. You don't rely on a 180-pound running back to block a full-grown SEC defensive lineman. I think you square up, make the block normal, and if it messes up the chip, then great. Maybe the chip just runs into your back and then his route's messed up, but you're protecting your quarterback's more important than a dump out route to a running back. He can always throw it away. Okay. He can't pick himself up out of the mud. You know what I mean?
I got something. Can you think of when we go to these practices, this is just kind of dawning on me. We don't really see them do a lot of pass protection drills. A lot of the drills they do are run oriented.
Yeah. But I think
they do one-on-ones, but I see them doing more run blocking drills than pass blocking drills. You know, it just going through the days that we could stay for the whole practice. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of running through things, running through chutes and staying and getting down. It's not so much kick, you know.
Yeah. I don't think that's atypical. I don't.
No? Well, maybe they need to mix some more of that in because really something's up. You know, the fundamentals, whatever.
I'm trying to remember when I played. I mean, most of our drills were run blocking drills, and then we would practice pass blocking, like one-on-ones. You know, we'd have a guy and then you do your thing. But yeah, I mean, that's probably also high school football has a lot to do with that, where, you know, you're running the ball a lot. But you're right. You're right. In drills, I understand exactly what you're talking about. It does look like they are not working enough pass protection. I'm going to ask you this. What is your overall job performance of the job Brad Davis has done at LSU?
Yeah, it's tough. He does a great job recruiting. Like, you look at his track record in terms of, not everybody's panned out, but the caliber of player he's bringing in, it's some of the best out there from a recruiting portfolio standpoint. And some end up being better than others, You can't deny the fact, though, that a lot of these guys have gotten drafted and gone on to play in the league. But with that said,
eight of them.
I don't know that that's translated as much as you would like to the actual field and the results, and it's easy to look at some numbers from 23 and they kind of get masked because Jaden created a lot himself, which isn't really the offensive line's fault, but it kind of masks when there's protection issues, when there's run blocking issues, that Jaden kind of makes things happen himself.
Of course it masks it. I
Yes.
mean, that's not the offensive line run blocking. That's they pass blocking, and he found a lane.
But what I'm saying is, like, Jaden could make a 50-yard run out of a terrible pass blocking rep. You know what I mean? And
Bingo.
There's just people would forget that. I just feel like it should be better. And even with this offensive line, like, I don't know, it's the best group of five. It's not the best individuals, And I feel like in the past few years, it's been more individual based than group based, Like, these are all talented guys they have on the offensive line. Like, Braylon Moore has started a ton. Josh Thompson started a ton at Northwestern in a league that, lends itself to being physical and being a road grader. Now, the other three spots are new, you know what I mean? But these guys have all been with the program for a couple of years now, you know what I mean? So I just feel like it should be better. And it looked better this past game, but I feel like there's still a little more improvement that we could see. It's just, I don't know. Even last year's group, I feel like didn't reach its potential. All five of those guys are in the league, right? And
Four. DJ Chester is on the bench for LSU.
All four of them that were, eligible to graduate and go play in the league are in the league, and I felt like there were some concerns and it wasn't as good last year, So I don't know. I mean, he recruits well. I feel like the development could be better, though, which is hard to say that when you look at where these guys have ended up,
Well, John, I'm going to just say this. I'm a lot more aggressive on my take. It's not that I dislike Brad Davis, but I just can't approve of the job he's done. I've watched him for 5 years now, and you've never had a consistent running game.
Yeah.
I'm just over it. I'm just like, you need to try something new. That's been the one consistent. You're getting guys going to the NFL. You're recruiting well. I don't mind. I'm not saying fire him, because I'd actually love to see him stick around on staff and do something. Yeah. But I do think you need someone actually coaching the offensive line. I can't say I approve of the job.
I don't know what the problem is, man. It's just they bring in a run game coordinator. And again, it was better this past week, but we shouldn't all be, going yippee for 166 rush yards. Like, that should be standard.
Let's put it like this. If you averaged that, though, you'd win a lot of games this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you can average that, I don't know that it's going to be a consistent thing that they're averaging.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have improved a lot in that front, and I'm very happy about that. We're going to get to a few more questions. I do have one more ad break. Let me ask you, do you have a hard break you have to hop out for anything?
No.
I might go a little extra just to give the people what they want, more Johnny Eats. And we'll get to it. So let's pay some bills before we move too far down here. Capital City Grill, guys. Great place to go check out some food after an LSU win, which they've been doing. We'll see how much more they can do. Sunday morning, they've got their brunch there, and they are located on 100 Lafayette Street in downtown Baton Rouge. Guys, they're your ideal lunch or dinner stop for a casual dining experience downtown. Guys, they feature a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pastas, steaks, and more, with most everything priced at $30 or below. Their Sunday morning brunch runs 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and you can book your reservation online at capitalcitygrill.net. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. And guys, side note here about Capital City Grill, some of the best desserts you're going to see in town. The dream cake is what I get when my wife's upset with me. Get a dream cake and there's no more upset. It's magic. I believe they advertise that feature. Well, technically they are advertising it right now because I am advertising it, but it's like, it should be on the menu that your wife will not be angry with you after this. You know where else she won't be mad with you? in a new 2026 Genesis GV70, guys, from our friends at Genesis of Lafayette. Guys, they're the premier luxury dealership offering the finest SUVs and cars in the region. Coupled with the best service anywhere, Genesis of Lafayette has a huge inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned Genesis vehicles for a truly first-class automotive experience. Is Genesis of Lafayette on 6600 Johnston Street. Here to exceed your expectations. Genesis of Lafayette. Shop us online at genesisoflafayette.com or call them at 877-856-2961. Let them know TigerBait sent you in. And guys, you can change the way you feel at Rejuvame Medical by creating a customizable treatment plan based on your goals. Rejuvame can lead you to success. Visit Rejuvame Medical for more.
I've noticed that my mental clarity is better. I'm able to focus more. My energy levels are up, and I bounce back in the gym more like I'm in my 20s and 30s. I feel like myself again, stronger, sharper, and ready to take on anything.
John, you know where I got to get the media guys out to soon?
Where's that? Struby's?
Well, I do there, but probably a little more of like a casual, like hang out with the boys type atmosphere.
No doubt.
Bay's Oyster Bar, guys. I'm gonna get y'all something there soon. Guys, they're open at 315 North Boulevard in downtown Baton Rouge. They're serving up the freshest farm-raised oysters from Grand Isle. No mud, no grit, just clean, delicious flavor. Not in the oysters, guys. Look, they've got plenty more to cover you because let's be honest, for every oyster lover, there's an oyster hater that you're dragging out there. They've got boiled shrimp. They've got their turkey brie and bacon sandwich or classic roast beef po' boy. They'll be featuring fully stocked bar complete with top-notch bourbon, whiskey, and craft beer. Don't miss out on Baton Rouge's newest oyster spot. And make sure to let them know that TigerBait sent you in. God, dude, I actually am craving like a nice cold beverage and some charbroiled oysters right now. I could really go for some. Are you an oyster guy at all?
Yeah, sure.
Really? Even a Yankee like you from, did they have any, I guess they have oysters in the Great Lakes up there in Michigan, right?
Yeah. When you go on a date with, it's just common practice,
Oh, that's what you do. You take the pretty girls out for oysters?
Well, in a past life, yeah.
Wait. You said, well, like they weren't pretty. You take is it like the average girls that you just have to?
In my prior relationship, oysters.
In prior relationships, in past life, in high school, John Eads' life, right?
Sure.
That's the last time you
So
lived
long
in
ago.
Michigan. Yeah, in high school, right?
Yeah.
What are you, like 38? Yeah. So it's
40.
been a while. 40. Yeah, you look it. Okay, let's get to some let's get to some comments here, guys. We're getting a little off the rails here. Let's see here. Carvis Durham, probably with a little offhand comment here. I like the talent on the line, though, especially when Solomon Thomas comes back. That's a really good question, though, because they've recruited well and they're putting guys in the NFL. Does this offensive line have the talent it needs to be successful, or is it just coaching? Like, what is the issue there?
Everything's got to come together, I mean, you can have the 5 best offensive linemen in the country, but if you're not tailoring the scheme to that and the play calling, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you have. You're running against 8 guys with 5 blockers or 5 in a tight end. You're at a disadvantage, So everything's got to come together. I don't know that you can point to just one particular thing, and say that's the issue. With that said, I mean, you can have a weak link in an offensive line and it brings the other 4 down. I mean, you can point to snaps and plays last year where DJ Chester, it was his first year starting at center and first year in college. But, I mean, an entire protection can go downhill if there's 3 rushers and one of them doesn't get picked up, So
Ed Flores says you got to know how to create a pocket.
True. American
Patriot. The Vandy coach is a genius. He's talking about Clark Lee. Can't get 5 stars, so he recruits and plays with a lot of play. Of course, Vanderbilt can't get recruits out of high school, but they do have NIL money.
Yeah.
That's what they didn't get Diego Pavia because Diego Pavia just believed in what the history of Vanderbilt's program is. Like they scouted him out and thought that'd be a good, savvy NIL guy, and they were right. He's hit.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job identifying talent. Like they understand who they are. They're not going to be able to get top of the line guys because, you got to prove that you can be successful and give guys a reason to want to come play. Yes.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's a great academic institution. Yes, it's in Nashville. Yes, it's in the SEC, but it's not on the same level as a lot of the other SEC football teams, obviously. So Pavia, as far as I know, nobody else really wanted him. I mean, he balled out at New Mexico State, right? But he wasn't one of those quarterbacks that was highly spoken of in the transfer portal, like a John Mateer, for example. And they did a great job identifying him, bringing him in, and it's been a good between the play calling and the system they run and the type of guy that he is. It's just come together well. Who's to say that Vanderbilt's going to continue being successful when he moves on eventually?
I think so. I let's put it like this. I think Vanderbilt in this NIL era is going to be a better program than it was pre-NIL.
Yeah.
Right. I genuinely believe that. I mean, they have a lucrative alumni base. Now, it's not like a very passionate sport, but I mean, this Vanderbilt education's elite. They have money. It's just they don't have history and success or really investment into the football program. Like they haven't really like locker rooms and stuff like that. They've just kind of been but now it's just like, oh, we can just pay players and get them to come. I think they're going to be a little bit better as a program. If I'm wrong and they go back to 2-10, I'm wrong. I just don't think it's a coincidence that those things align. By the way, Diego Pavia he owes Theo Vaughn a date with his mom based on the Twitterverse. I did ask Theo Vaughn to take this spot before you, and I had to wait for him to tell me no before you came on here.
That's all right.
So you're the second best guest, though. I mean, it was literally Theo Vaughn, John Eads. That was it.
Not a huge drop off in between.
Not a huge drop off. It was very close. In fact, I almost texted you first, but I said, this guy follows me on Twitter. That's really cool. He likes Vanderbilt and LSU. Is at the let's hit up Theo Vaughn. And
it's worth a shot.
He was busy. Yeah.
But you can always rely on me, wide open in the flat on the check down, and I'll get you.
I also asked Jamarcus Russell for Marlar's spot, not your spot, for Marlar's spot. I asked Jamarcus Russell to come on. He declined. He was like, "Oh man, I'm just a little too tied up right now, but I got you later." But he gave me his number at the game. That was cool.
Huge.
Oh yeah, he's huge. He's 6'6", man. He's giant. Anyways, but he has slimmed down though. He's very thin. There were some good schemes like the double team against South Carolina that let the running back get a big gain. I guess they're talking about one of the runs. See, I hadn't had a chance to watch the replays and stuff like that. Do you know what he's talking about?
No, they did a good job getting to the second level. And I thought Caden Durham, he just brings a different element than the other guys. Like he excels at breaking tackles, kind of getting extra hidden yardage. It wasn't feast or famine in this game. Like there were plenty of opportunities or plenty of plays where Durham would pick up 6-7 yards. And that's what you're looking for, just a kind of a consistent threat. And he brought a little something different that we haven't seen is that ability to get 2 or 3 extra yards that don't seem that important at the time, but they rack up as the game goes along.
Absolutely.
LSU averaged 5.5 per carry, and that's a little inflated by the big plays, sure. But it kind of felt like they averaged 5.5 per carry. They showed some consistency.
I think falling forward as a running back is such an underrated trait.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, first off, LSU's been averaging about 2.2 yards per carry this season. Just think about what a fall forward does for that number in terms of moving the chain consistently. How many times are you looking up and it's just short yardage situation and those extra 1 or 2 yards of falling forward would have helped. Ad provocation reading. Thank you, Ed Flores, for that. Let's see here, which, hey, I don't know if I get a ton of compliments on my ad reading here. Most guys are like, hey man, stop the ads, when they should be like, no, I'm going to go out and support your sponsor so you can continue to do your show free of charge for us. I wish we get more comments like that.
That means they were locked in on what you were saying. So
yeah, no, I like the compliment. In fact, that's probably the best comment of the night is complimenting my ad reading. Let's see here. Sam Pittman is out there in a log cabin. Boy, I already told people I would hire Sam Pittman as your full-time offensive line coach yesterday.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen though. Like
No,
I don't even think they're going to get rid of Brad Davis. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Not at the end of the season, or are you talking about during the season?
I don't think in the Brian Kelly era. I don't see it unless he leaves for a bigger job. He's just too well connected around here, and so
I predict that will happen. I predict that.
Okay.
I predict that Brad Davis and likely Joe Sloan, and I like both of these guys a lot. I do, and I have good relationships with these coaches. But Brian Kelly, look at his history. He's reactive, man. He's not going to sit there and see when the special teams were awful. He let Polian go. Polian was the only guy to come with him from Notre Dame. They had a good, long-standing relationship, and he sent them packing. Sent the entire defensive staff packing after 2023, which was the right move. A lot of guys on that defensive staff I liked. A lot of good guys. And, I think that this year with the offensive struggles, I expect at least some tweaks. Unless they turn it around in a big way.
They could, we'll see. That's what we're that's what we're looking for. I had something. I texted Mike this. I was watching back highlights from a game 2 weeks ago. I had to catch up on Duke and Cal.
Okay, interesting. That's some junky football you're watching. You know that, right?
Well, I'm just I try to keep up with all the teams as best I can. And, Duke's got a running back, Nate Shepard, freshman from Vanderbilt, who's lighting it up. Absolute stud. College-ready body. Going for 100 a game.
Yeah.
Since he started playing more about a month ago. Man, I can't believe he didn't even get an LSU offer. Like,
did you get to cover him in your high school? Because you're on sidelines. You're in like what, two sidelines every Friday?
Yeah, Thursday and Friday. We don't cover Mandeville a lot, and he kind of was. His last year was my first year. But he's a stud, man. He's built. He's ready. He's showing. He's put up 100 yards every week at Duke. I know you had Harlan Berry, you had JT Lindsay, and you can't bring in 3 scholarship running backs in the same class.
Right. No, not 3 of that caliber.
Damn, this dude could be playing right now at LSU, and Berry is getting better, and there's a lot of upside. I think maybe he has a higher ceiling down the road. JT Lindsay obviously has the situation going on. How much would it help to have a guy like a Nate Shepard here right now? Juwan Johnson playing well too.
Hear me out though. Hear me out. You have to actually play him. Frank doesn't like leaning on young players. He really doesn't. He likes to make you come in and earn it. And I think that he would probably not be getting too many reps if he were here.
Maybe so. I just know that last week or at Ole Miss, they needed somebody and they didn't really have anybody, So.
One thing I do like about this portal era is you do see a lot of guys that slip under the rug and go elsewhere, right? Especially if it's a school like Duke. Well, then you get a second chance at, more than half of these guys.
You might, but I don't know. I feel like he's kind of slighted, I don't know if he would I don't even know why he would leave, if the coaching staff stays intact over there. He's running for 100 a game in the AC. Duke's undefeated. They're 3-0 in conference play. They got a chance to make the playoff, So that'd be nice.
Hey.
But I just, not even to get an offer, kind of wild. He wasn't like some lowly 3-star. He was a borderline 4-star,
Who was the North Baton Rouge kid who went to Texas, that running back? I'm trying to remember.
Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah. No. Le'Veon Moss, that was a few years.
Simon.
James Simon is who
he's playing for Texas.
Think about this. LSU had to stop recruiting him at a certain point because they're like, whoa, hold up. JT Lindsay's a dog. And LSU was really high in on James Simon. But LSU missed out on Le'Veon Moss. Le'Veon Moss had family stuff, and he just needed to go.
He's coming back with a vengeance in 2 weeks. They are a freaking wagon right now. I don't like that matchup for LSU at all.
I like one thing about it: Saturday night in Death Valley.
It's at night, I know, but I don't know.
LSU's going to need all the help they can get. A&M looks good. Looks like all that talent that they've been stockpiling for years is now being coupled with discipline under Mike Elko.
Yeah, he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
And they already went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame on its home field at night.
Yeah.
You know,
That's tough to do, man. So, and look, Marshall Reed is obviously a dynamic athlete. If this defense has an Achilles heel, it's certainly the dynamic runners, as we've seen. And yeah, it's tough, but we'll see. Well, I want to see the offense continue to take a step forward. I'll also throw this out there. You do get a mulligan. You get one more game you can lose and still make
you
the
do,
playoffs.
but man, I mean, you still got Bama, you know, Vanderbilt.
And Oklahoma.
I mean, that's not a given win. I mean,
Boy.
Oklahoma, by the time they play them, Mateer should be 100%. Arkansas looks a lot better with Petrino. They almost beat Tennessee. People probably didn't even keep up with that this weekend.
Yeah.
Anytime you got an interim coach, especially if it's Bobby Petrino, your team plays a lot better. So, yeah, I mean, you have a mulligan, but you're playing at Augusta as an amateur golfer, kind of. You know, I mean, it's gonna be tough to navigate. So
Carvis Durst says Marshall Reed's not better than I agree with that.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes, this defense has an Achilles heel and it's the athletic quarterback. But South Carolina had no passing game. A&M has a passing game, and that's where, like Trinidad Chambliss, I didn't think his legs would be that big of a factor, but they were, because he forced LSU to drop guys into coverage, and then he could take off and pick up first downs. And Reed is going to be able to do the same thing, probably.
Madison Smith, with seeing the way the season has played out so far, do you see a 3-loss SEC team for a chance of the playoff? All right, my answer is, and I'm gonna just frame it with LSU, no. Because your out of conference win isn't strong enough anymore. It was strong enough where 9-3 would have gotten you in, but no, unless chaos happens. In most years, it will not. Let's put it like this: at 9-3, I've done this since 2000. LSU has a 1 in 5 chance of making the playoffs, and I don't know that this schedule for LSU. But that's not to say some other SEC team that goes 9-3 with a quality out of conference. Like, can you remember any quality out of conference wins that a team in the SEC has off the top of your head? I'm blanking. I mean, okay, no, Texas A&M would be a good candidate.
Mississippi State beat Arizona State with Sam Leavitt.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're in playoff contention, MSU, but that's one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
A&M over Notre Dame.
That's what I was gonna say.
Notre Dame's gonna end up 9-3 or 10-2, whatever.
10-2, 9-3, something like that. Which, by the way, I don't know if 10-2 is good enough to get Notre Dame in unless chaos ensues either. They're not gonna have a ranked win.
But yeah, they're climbing up the rankings, but this is the AP poll, so we got to see how the committee will rank them.
The committee is going to feel differently, unless they don't want to, because the committee does have a tendency to do what they want. The committee also has a tendency to punish you if your resume isn't strong.
Yeah.
So I think it would have to be a team like A&M with just a robust, top-notch out-of-conference win. You know, just something like that to get in. LSU doesn't have it. Most SEC teams are having it. I'm not going to say there's none, but let's put it like this: Alabama's win over Wisconsin isn't going to be good enough. And I'm just blanking. Up top of my head, I can't really remember any other big out of conference SEC wins. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 out there.
Tennessee, they beat Syracuse. That's definitely not a good out of conference win.
You're gonna dog your boys, man. Your alma mater. You're throwing them under the bus like that.
No, they lost. It's a fact. You
just said they're not good enough to count.
Well, they were until their quarterback tore his Achilles when they beat Clemson, which is a bummer.
Does that mean Ricky Collins is starting again?
He's been starting, and he's been struggling, but we'll see if he can get better. I feel like there's a scenario in which a 3-loss team could get in if the resume is good enough, because I don't know how many undefeated teams are going to be in college football. Maybe Miami, probably Ohio State, possibly Indiana.
Well, let's just do statistically. It's always going to be 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And a G5.
I just feel like a lot of teams are going to beat up on each other as the season goes along. I mean, one week Florida beats Texas. The next they lose to A&M. One week Texas loses to Florida but beats Oklahoma. I feel like it's going to be like that every week. And some teams will separate, but still, I mean, the worst
team in college football this year? Who's the juggernaut?
The team?
Who's the juggernaut? None of them.
Yeah, I'd probably say either Indiana, Ohio State, or Miami at this point.
Right, but every one of them.
Alabama and A&M possibly.
Well, every one of them has flaws where you're not like, Even Oregon last year, by the end of the year, they were looking really, really good. They just got beat by an Ohio State team that just caught fire at the end of the year. Maybe you could point to Miami as that team right now.
Maybe.
But even them, it's like, there's got some issues. Do you really believe in Carson Beck to be the dude he's been for the whole season? Anyways, my point being is there's no powerhouse juggernaut team. I think we're going to see a champ. We're not going to see an undefeated champion. That's my prediction this year. I think we're going to see a champion who loses a game.
It's just so many games, man. I mean,
16
by the end of the year. Even if you go 12-0, you get the bye in the playoff. And I don't think teams that had buys in the playoff last year ended up doing very well.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, no. Well, last year was funky because it was like Boise State got a bye.
Yeah.
Arizona State got a bye because last year they did the Oregon, top 4 conference champions instead of the top 4 seeds, which was foolishness. They're not doing that again. So I expect the bye teams, byproduct of just putting the good teams, giving them the bye, are going to improve, right? So anyways, all right, guys, we went 15 minutes over tonight because we were having a little bit of fun talking ball with John Eads and talking ball with Chris Marler. And I figured I'd give y'all a little extra content for your free 99 show here. John, appreciate you, man. Hey, where can fans keep up with your work? I know you do a little bit of online work as well as work at the TV station.
Yeah, I mean, the best social media platform would be X. I post a lot of my stuff on there.
God, you call it X, man. Ugh.
Well, I mean, that's what it's called, Twitter. I mean, whatever.
I just call it Twitter, man.
That's fine. Just trying to keep up. Jacques does a lot of our football coverage, so my main focus is high school football and then baseball, especially now that we're into fall ball. So I go to a lot of the scrimmages and stuff, and I've been putting a lot of content out based on what I've seen at the scrimmages, kind of giving an early look at the team. So if that interests you at all, it's probably the best way to keep up with it. So
y'all give them a follow, guys. And look, I'll tell you this. No one puts in more elbow grease than John Eads when it comes to covering these events, man. If it resembles a sport, it feels like old boy's out there with a camera and he's sunburnt and he's sweaty. So that's how it rolls, man. Hard work pays off. Appreciate you. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the show, guys, hit like, hit the bell to subscribe to when we do our live videos. Mike and Buddy will be back Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Of course, Mike and I will be live in our post-game show. We're going to try to go up live immediately at the bell. As soon as the game ends, we're going to try our best. Obviously, we have work to do kind of while we're doing it, but we're going to do our best to get up and live right after for the road games this year. So I appreciate y'all for watching. Hit like, beat Mike. See, that's how he knows he's an OG. I hadn't said that in a while. Mike makes fun of us for getting less likes than his show. Let's beat Mike this week, guys. Give me a like. Let's beat Mike. Appreciate y'all. We will see y'all next week and Saturday night.